Part 6.4. The Cattle Al-An'am, Assalamu Alaikum. Welcome back to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed. We continue our profound journey through the majestic Surah Al-An'am, with a new intellectual and spiritual expedition in 2 verses. Kanzul Iman, Quran, the Cattle, 631, to Kanzul Iman, Quran, the Cattle, 640. These passages are a powerful and direct confrontation with the psychological and spiritual state of the disbeliever. They meticulously peel back the layers of deception and denial, revealing the ultimate reality that awaits those who invent lies against Allah and deny His verses. This part will take us on a solemn journey to the Day of Judgment, showing us the futility of their fabrications and their ultimate helplessness. We will dissect the theological arguments within these verses, explore their profound Sufi implications, and confirm their teachings with the timeless wisdom of the prophetic traditions. Section 1. The Ultimate Lie and the Inevitable Reckoning. The verses that form the foundation of our initial discussion in this segment are as follows. Kanzul Iman, Quran the Cattle, 631. They are losers who will deny the meeting with Allah until, when the hour comes upon them suddenly, they say, "Oh, our sorrow over what we neglected concerning it," while they bear their burdens on their backs. And evil is that which they will bear. This verse, Kanzul Iman Quran, the Cattle, 631, begins with a direct and powerful condemnation. It establishes that those who deny the reality of the afterlife and the Day of Judgment are the ultimate losers. The verse paints a vivid and terrifying picture of the hour's sudden arrival, catching them completely unprepared. In that moment of profound spiritual shock, they will cry out in regret, mourning their neglect of the truth. The burden of their sins, a tangible weight on their backs, is a powerful metaphor for the consequences of their actions. The verse is a powerful and sobering warning that worldly pleasure is no match for the suddenness of the divine reckoning. Kanzul Iman, Quran, the Cattle, 632. And this worldly life is not but amusement and play. But the home of the hereafter is the true life, if only they knew. This verse, Kanzul Iman, Quran, the Cattle, 632, provides a profound spiritual perspective on the nature of this life. It dismisses the material world as a mere amusement and play, a transient and fleeting stage. The verse then declares that the home of the hereafter is the true life, asserting that the only existence with true meaning, permanence, and depth is the one to come. The concluding phrase, "if only they knew," highlights the spiritual ignorance of those who are consumed by the fleeting pleasures of the world. It is a powerful call to reorient one's priorities and to understand that the true purpose of this life is to prepare for the next. Kanzul Iman, Quran, the Cattle, 633. We know that you are saddened by what they say. For indeed they do not deny you, but the wrongdoers deny the signs of Allah. This verse provides a direct and compassionate address to the Prophet, peace be upon him, acknowledging his grief and sorrow over the disbelievers' denial. It offers a profound comfort, reassuring him that their rejection is not of him as a person, but of the very signs of Allah. This verse is a powerful lesson for all who carry the burden of truth. When faced with rejection and denial, they must understand that the opposition is not against their person, but against the divine truth they represent. The wrongdoers deny the signs of Allah, not out of ignorance, but out of a willful act of injustice. Quran, the Cattle, 634. And already were messengers denied before you. But they were patient over being denied and harmed until our help came to them. And there is no changing the words of Allah, and there has already come to you some information about the previous messengers. This verse provides a historical and a spiritual lesson. It consoles the Prophet, peace be upon him, by reminding him that the denial he is facing is not a new phenomenon. All messengers before him faced similar opposition, but they remained steadfast and patient until the divine help came. The verse then provides a profound statement of divine immutability. There is no changing the words of Allah, signifying that Allah's promises of help to His righteous servants will always be fulfilled. It is a powerful reminder of the importance of patience and perseverance in the face of adversity. Kanzul Iman, Quran, the Cattle, 635. And if their turning away is hard on you, Then if you are able to seek a tunnel into the earth or a stairway into the sky and bring them a sign, then do so. But if Allah had willed, He would have gathered them upon guidance. So do not be among the ignorant. This verse, Kanzul, Iman, Quran, the cattle, 635, is a powerful affirmation of the Prophet's peace be upon him, sincerity, and a profound statement on the nature of divine decree. It acknowledges the Prophet's peace be upon him immense desire for the disbelievers to believe. The verse then presents a rhetorical and impossible challenge to bring a sign by traveling to the ends of the earth or the sky. It then reveals that if Allah had willed, He would have guided all of humanity, but He has given humanity free will. The verse concludes with a powerful warning to the Prophet, peace be upon him, so do not be among the ignorant. A final reminder that he must not allow his sorrow to lead him to a state of ignorance regarding Allah's ultimate wisdom in granting free will to humanity. Context of revelation, divine comfort, and the mystery of free will. The verses in this section were revealed at a time when the Prophet, peace be upon him, was under immense pressure and sorrow due to the constant denial and mockery of the Meccan disbelievers. The verses serve as a profound form of divine comfort, reassuring him that his efforts are not in vain, and that he is on the same path as all the great messengers before him. The discourse also delves into the complex issue of free will versus divine will. While Allah has the ultimate power to guide all, He chooses to give humanity the freedom to accept or reject the truth. This is a profound mystery of divine wisdom, and these verses provide a glimpse into this divine plan. The verses also serve as a direct refutation of the disbelievers' claims that the Quran is a mere story, and that they would only believe if a tangible sign came down. Sufi perspective, the inner reality of dunya and the spiritual blindness. From a Sufi perspective, the amusement and play of this life in Kanzul Iman, Quran the cattle, 632, is a profound concept. The Sufi understands that the material world, dunya, is a temporary and a fleeting distraction that can prevent the seeker from achieving true spiritual proximity to Allah. The Sufi path is one of Zuhd asceticism, not in a literal sense of abandoning the world, but in a spiritual sense of detaching the heart from the love of the world. The true life is found in the constant remembrance of Allah and the preparation for the afterlife. The Sufi also understands that the spiritual blindness of the disbelievers is not an external problem, but an inner reality, a veil hijab over the heart that prevents the seeker from seeing the truth. The Prophet's peace be upon him deep sorrow in Kanzul Iman, Quran, the cattle, 633, is a manifestation of his immense compassion for humanity, a compassion that every Sufi strives to emulate. Commentary from Ziya al-Quran, the ultimate burden. The Ziya al-Quran commentary on these verses provides a masterful analysis of the spiritual and psychological dimensions of disbelief. The commentator explains that the burden on their backs in Kanzul Iman, Quran, the cattle, 631, is a powerful metaphor for the sins that will weigh them down on the Day of Judgment. The commentator provides a detailed analysis of the divine comfort given to the Prophet, peace be upon him, explaining that it was a necessary reassurance to strengthen his resolve in the face of overwhelming opposition. The commentary also delves into the profound wisdom behind the verses on divine will and free will, explaining that forced belief would be a contradiction in terms, as true faith must come from a free and sincere choice. The commentator beautifully articulates how the verses serve as a warning to the believers to be patient and to not fall into despair when faced with the arrogance and denial of the disbelievers. Section 2. Spiritual Deafness and the Community of Creatures. We now continue our journey through Surah Al-An'am, examining the verses that delve into the profound consequences of disbelief and the ultimate reward of a life of faith. Kanzul Iman, Quran, the cattle, 636. Only those who hear will respond, but the dead Allah will raise them, then to Him they will be returned. This verse, Kanzul, Iman, Quran, the cattle, 636, provides a powerful and profound distinction between those who are spiritually alive and those who are spiritually dead. The verse states that only those who can hear, not with their physical ears, but with the ears of their heart, will respond to the call of the truth. It then uses the powerful metaphor of the dead, referring to those who are spiritually lifeless and heedless. The verse affirms that Allah will resurrect them, not only physically on the day of judgment, but also spiritually, to a state of accountability. The verse is a powerful lesson that spiritual life is a prerequisite for a true response to the divine call. Kanzul Iman, Quran, the cattle, 637. And they say, why has a sign not been sent down to him from his Lord? Say, indeed, Allah is able to send down a sign, but most of them do not know. This verse addresses the disbelievers' persistent demand for a physical miracle. The verse provides a clear and direct answer. Allah has the power to send down any sign they desire. However, it is not in His divine wisdom to do so, as such a sign would remove the element of free will and sincere belief. The verse highlights the ignorance of the disbelievers, who fail to understand the wisdom behind the divine plan. They believe that a sign would solve all their problems, but they fail to comprehend that true belief must come from a contemplative heart, not a forced spectacle. Kanzul, Iman, Quran, the cattle, 638. And there is no creature on earth or bird that flies with its wings except that they are communities like you. We have not neglected in the book a thing. Then to their Lord they will be gathered. This verse is a magnificent and a deeply profound statement on the interconnectedness of all creation. It reveals that all living creatures on earth, from the smallest insect to the largest whale, and all the birds that fly in the sky, are communities, just like humanity. This verse is a powerful refutation of human arrogance, placing humanity on a level with the rest of creation in the eyes of the Creator. The verse also affirms the all-encompassing nature of divine knowledge, stating that we have not neglected in the book a thing. This means that every creature, every species, and every law governing their existence is known and recorded by Allah. The verse culminates with the promise that all of them, like humanity, will be gathered before their Lord for a final reckoning. Kanzul, Iman, Quran, the cattle, 639. But those who deny our verses are deaf and dumb in darkness. Whoever Allah wills, He lets go astray. And whoever He wills, He places on a straight path. This verse describes the spiritual state of those who deny Allah's verses. They are described as being deaf and dumb in darkness, a powerful metaphor for their spiritual ailment. They cannot hear the truth, they cannot speak it, and they live in a state of profound spiritual ignorance. The verse then touches upon the complex issue of divine guidance and misguidance. It affirms that Allah is the ultimate guide, and that a person's guidance or misguidance is ultimately in His hands. However, this is not an arbitrary act. It is a direct consequence of a person's own intentions and choices. Kanzul Iman, Quran, the cattle, 640 say, have you considered, if the punishment of Allah should come to you, or the hour should come to you, would you call upon other than Allah, if you should be truthful? This verse is a final and powerful direct challenge to the polytheists. It forces them to confront their deepest fears and their most primal instincts. It asks them to consider a moment of ultimate calamity and to truthfully answer who they would call upon in that moment. The verse is a profound psychological insight, as it reveals that in a moment of true distress, the polytheist will instinctively turn to Allah, and their fabricated idols will be completely forgotten. This is a powerful demonstration that their belief in polytheism is shallow and superficial, and that their soul knows the truth of Allah's oneness. Our comprehensive analysis of the verses of Surah Al-An'am reveals a profound and interconnected argument for the absolute oneness of Allah. The surah masterfully transitions from the surah ultimate futility of denying the hour to the ultimate absurdity of polytheism. It teaches us that this life is a brief and fleeting test, and that true existence and success lie in the hereafter. The verses beautifully illustrate the nature of spiritual blindness, which is a consequence of willful denial, and they offer a profound lesson on the interconnectedness of all living things. The powerful and direct challenges to the polytheists in these verses serve as a timeless lesson for all who seek to remove the veil of heedlessness from their hearts and to return to the singular and everlasting light of Tawhid. May Allah Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim guide your heart to the truth, and may He protect you from the grave injustice of lying against Him. May He grant you the insight to recognize the subtle lies of the ego and the strength to purify your heart from all forms of spiritual deception. May He make your intellect a beacon of truth and your words a testament to the honesty of your faith. May you be among those who are not just saved from the punishment of the fire, but are also granted the clear success of His mercy. May He make your life a continuous journey of spiritual rectification, so that your final moment is one of profound truth and submission. May He make your channel a source of immense benefit for all who seek truth, and may you be granted the company of the righteous. May your final abode be the highest station of paradise, where you may be honored to gaze upon His glorious face. May the peace and blessings of Allah always be upon you, and may you be granted unwavering steadfastness on the path of truth.